All right, guys, it's Jahlon, and today we're talking about what happens when a node reaches stage 3, the village stage. The big part is that players are going to assume direct control over the node. This video assumes that you've watched the Ashes crash course on nodes, what they are and how they function. If you haven't, pause this video, click on the video in the upper right hand corner, check that one out, and then come back. So with that said, at stage 3, a lot of systems are going to come online. The player government comes on, the sieges and wars, the vassal system comes into play, and so does player-driven housing. Now, the government system is the big one. Ashes of Creation is built around the idea that players run the government of the different nodes. The 4 different nodes have their own election methods. Divine nodes is going to be determined by who does the most PvE quests. Economic nodes, you actually buy the seat of power. Military nodes are a PvP tournament where you compete as a champion that you build gear and outfit. And finally, scientific nodes are based on popular election. Now, the big thing here in this government system, it is open to all citizens. This isn't a game where guilds control the nodes, so the guild leader is automatically the mayor. Any citizen can become mayor or one of the other elected officials. In order to be a citizen, you will have to secure housing in that node. I'm going to talk about housing at the end of the video. Some of the powers of the government are pretty impressive, the biggest one being choosing buildings to go on certain plots. Now, I say certain plots because this is not a free control build game. This isn't SimCity, or it's not a game like Valheim where you're building the walls wherever you want. There are going to be some automatic buildings, the walls, the structures, the gates, the choke points. Those are going to be automatic. What you're going to have is certain plots, and those certain plots allow you to build buildings, and those buildings require effort to build. The effort is mainly resources and materials. The goal here is to promote caravan usage and to try to promote some caravan PvP. Now, for those mayor chosen buildings, there are a lot of options when it comes to what the mayor can build. And remember, each node is going to have a finite number of mayor constructible plots. So if we take this stage 3 node, it's got 3 plots. This mayor has chosen to build a marketplace, a temple, and a tavern. Now, some buildings are only available at certain levels. Social organizations don't come into play until stage 4. The additional apartments don't come in until stage 4. So this mayor at a stage 3 has chosen to build these. Now, one of the things they built was a temple. That allows them to designate one religion. When it comes to the nodes, you're never going to have enough constructible plots to have every alternative available. That's why sometimes people say, why isn't everybody just going to live in the regional metropolis? Because that regional metropolis may not have a temple to your religion or a building to your social organization. As the node levels up, it's going to get some additional constructible plots. So the mayor decides now to build a social organization building and an apartment for some extra citizenship slots. If the mayor didn't build that apartment building, then the amount of housing would be limited because there wouldn't be instanced apartments. Another thing about the nodes at stage 3 is taxes come into play. The mayors can set the rate for tax in the node, but I want to let you know that all of that money stays in the system. Mayors cannot withdraw any money in the tax system. Now, monarchs can, but we're going to talk about monarchs when I redo the castle video. Some of the other things that happen when a node reaches stage 3 is it has some PvP functions on the offense. One of the big ones is your mayor can declare war on other nodes. Now, declaring war on a node does not result in the node's destruction. Declaring war on the node allows your citizens to be legal combatants against other citizens. It also allows you to destroy some key buildings, possibly driving that node into atrophy. But even if you win the war, the node will still be present. Remember, the only way to remove a node is through a successful siege. I've got a video in the corner there to talk about node wars versus node sieges. Another thing the mayor can do is he can declare non-citizens enemy of the state. Now, I love this mechanic. If you build a bad player reputation in an area, you steal too many caravans, you're a ninja loot monkey, you do bad things, that mayor may declare you an enemy of the state. Now, it's non-citizens. Mayors cannot declare his own or her own citizens as enemies of the state. I also don't know if it's a global flag or only in the zone of influence, and I also don't know what happens if you are an enemy of the state and you somehow get citizenship. I'm hoping to get some of those questions answered in November of 2022 when I interview Steven again. Of course, there's going to be some PvP defensive functions as well. One of those is that you can be sieged. Any person can drop a siege flag. This is not a node versus node mechanic. It's a person versus a node mechanic. And then obviously, if you can declare war, you can have war declared on you too. The next thing that comes into play is the vassal system. At stage 3, nodes can have vassals. If a node is stage 3, it can only have nodes 0 through 2 as vassals. Those are called territories. If the parent node is destroyed, so is the territory. But this only applies to nodes 0, 1, and 2. At stage 3 and up, a node will survive its parent's destruction. So this is a stage 3 node. It will have vassals. It will also be a vassal. If its parent node is destroyed, the 3 remains. Now, to talk really briefly about housing and citizenship, this is just a quick overview. I have more on Ashes 101 on housing, and I have a video up there on some housing stuff. There's a lot to do with housing. Each video turns out to be 10 or 12 minutes. Housing comes in 3 types: in-node houses, apartments, and freeholds. Housing is required for citizenship, but you can have housing in 3 different nodes. You can have an in-node house in 1 node, an apartment in a second, and your freehold can be in a 3rd. The only restriction is you can have 1 house and 1 apartment per server. You can have 1 freehold per account. All of your alts on the server share not only your housing, but also your citizenship. When it comes to stage 3 housing, there will be 8 in-node houses, 8 cottages at the village state. There will be 50 static apartments, and then there will be as many freeholds as can fit in the zone of influence. Now, there is an outstanding quote that as the node levels up, more houses will be made available, and this is confirmed. There's also a quote that says as the node levels up, there will be more there will be more apartments made available, more static apartments. That I'm trying to get confirmation on. Also, remember, at stage 4, the mayor can build an instance department building, which then changes how many citizens there can be. Speaking of citizens, housing is a requirement for citizenship. You can have that housing in 3 different nodes. If you want to change your citizenship, it's a 14-day cooldown. Now, a lot of people always talk about, why do I want to be a citizen? I'm not going to be a citizen. It doesn't matter. The biggest reason to be a citizen is access to node buildings. For example, only citizens can rent marketplace stalls. If your node has a marketplace and you want to rent one of those stalls, only citizens can rent out those stalls. There's also the idea that when you're inside of a node, you will be able to get certain node benefits from the relics in your reliquary, from augments based on the node type, which when people say my entire guild is going to live in 1 node, I say, well, I don't think your healers want to live in a military node. They may want to live in a divine node because there might be healing buffs. I also remind them that your crafters want to live in a scientific node because that's where the best crafting stations are. So a lot of people that are trying to say my whole guild will live in 1 place, you're not really grasping the node concept. Node concept is going to be very individual. Finally, something people never remember: citizenship is your highest allegiance. If you are a citizen, that trumps your guild membership. It is possible for guild members living in 2 different nodes to be in a node war with each other because the nodes have gone to war and citizenship is your highest allegiance. Do you think that should be the case? Do you think citizenship should be the highest allegiance? If you do, or if you don't, or if you want to comment, make sure you leave a comment below. If you're new to Ashes of Creation, do me a favor, sign up for Ashes of Creation right now. There's a referral link in the description below. It helps me out. Lets Intrepid know Ashes 101 is still reaching new customers. And with that said, I stream 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I do a show called Ashes 101. It goes along with the Ashes 101 website. If you've got a question, swing on by, we'll get you sorted out. If you like good music and you like DMCA free music, do me a huge favor. In the corner over there, there's a link to PGN Music. Please go over there. Please subscribe to that channel. I'm trying to get it monetized so I can keep making more DMCA free music. I got a lot of cool stuff coming out for the holidays. Until next time, you guys take care. Got any questions about Ashes of Creation, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to get them answered.